This episode is brought to you by No Lack Nation. When you think about what do you need and what do you want out of life, what do you think? No Lack has taken the messages and mantras that represent hustle, grind, and ambition and turned them into art so that they can be worn as an extension of expression for yourself. It isn't just a clothing brand. No Lack is a state of being, a collective presence of individuals with unique visions but common goals. Go down to their store, 1214 East Carson Street. Check out their inventory. Tell them MVP Podcast sent you. Get some gear. Also shop at their website at nolacknation.com.
When you said in the last one, you're like, I wasn't recording. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Like, I believed you, for real.
I think everybody did, except
Nobody
for me.
said anything. We're all
Just
just like,
got quiet. Yeah.
Dude, imagine if you didn't record that egg drop that you had with the massive one.
Yeah, I would
would
have
have to do it again.
Well, I don't know what I would have done at that point, you know? It's like, what do you do?
Literally, I don't know. But honestly, maybe that would be the episode.
Yeah, it would have done.
Doesn't go perfect all the time.
Yeah.
The clip of you like shaking was, I couldn't even imagine the thought going through my head would be like, don't drop this
When we
fucking
lifted
thing.
that bowl, I just remember, like, I heard the parrot. He, like, made this big gasp that, like, nobody else heard but me. And, like, we lifted it. And you can see in the video, like, both of our arms just start shaking. The ball starts wobbling. And I was like, holy shit, here we go. Like, one shot. This dude's wearing gloves. I'm like, man, I hope his fingers don't slip. So
Yeah, you're holding almost all the weight probably at that point. But
it
like,
felt like it, yeah.
how much pounds do you think that was total?
About 190.
Damn.
Yeah, we estimated 170 for the eggs, and then the bowl was like 20 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
that's awkward weight too, because
It's
not
awkward, and it had like a little lip on the bowl, so you had to like use your fingertips to grab it. You know, you couldn't actually get like a full grip on it. So,
Imagine the parrot, too. Like, that's what I was worried about. I was like,
Yeah.
I get to see it slipping.
yeah,
And
yeah,
not
he was
being
confident though, so he was good.
He was. He got it done.
Yeah,
All right, so this is episode 23 of the MVP podcast. Today we have Ryan Peters. Well, I'm going to call you Ryan Peters.
Yeah.
That's your actual name.
yeah,
And I know a lot of people probably call you Peter.
yeah. Most people at this point, yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, so I go by either Peter's Pasta or Ryan.
But he is the man behind Peters Pasta on Instagram, all of the social media, and the viral egg doubling challenge right now that has been going around on social media. So to kick things off, just give us a little background on who you are and what you're currently up to, a little more in depth than I just did.
Yeah, so I guess before like the whole social media thing, so I grew up like an hour outside of Philly, and from a young age I always wanted to be a chef and be cooking, and kind of carried that on, went to culinary school, and then worked for like 10 years as a chef in restaurants around the country, kind of chasing this like fine dining route. And then eventually kind of my life shifted towards pasta. And for a while I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to be a pasta chef. I'm going to work in pasta restaurants. That's going to be the thing. And then lo and behold, like four-ish years ago, I found social media and had some success. And that's kind of gotten me to where I'm at now.
What was some of the biggest challenges with going the prestige like chef route? Because I'm sure you see all the movies like the
Yeah.
Brad Pitt movie, or no, the Bradley Cooper movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and just how intense it is as a chef. Was some of those days like harder with the
It
long
was every day.
hours?
It was, I mean, it was very low pay, right? Long hours, like at least 80 to 100 hours a week. Stressful environments, hot environments, really high standards. It was a tough lifestyle that, you know, I think especially too when I was young, I could deal with it more, you know. It's just like,
Right.
But eventually, like, I got to a point was like, do I really want this quality of life forever? Like, it's not a healthy quality of life. So kind of finding pasta and then eventually social media, it was kind of like, holy shit, there's a life outside of restaurants, but I can still be around food.
Yeah. Where did it kick for like the pasta concept of bringing the idea of pasta making
Yeah.
for you whenever you first created that first pasta video?
The first pasta video, so like I had always been good with like documenting everything I do, whether it's like photos, videos, journals, whatever, like when I was cooking in restaurants, not really realizing, like I had an Instagram account, but I was like, if I got 15, 20 likes, I was like, sick, this is great.
Right.
I wasn't doing anything with it. So then eventually when TikTok came out and I posted a video on there that was just, you know, a silly like 10-second clip, and that video went viral, like with 0 following. I was like, holy shit, like people really enjoy watching what I'm passionate the most about. And so it kind of like really shifted things in my head to like realize people enjoy seeing what I enjoy doing. So like there's got to be something there to make this more sustainable.
It's incredible. I mean, just to see it and watch it. I mean, even watching it, I think people have a sense of like calmness just watching you make pasta. It's incredible.
I mean, I don't at this point now, like I'm not over it, but like I'm used to it. Like I'm numb to it. Like it's what I do every day. But I mean, I feel like I'm getting dozens of messages or talking to people every day just saying like how like satisfying or enjoyable the content is. So it's really cool to see.
I think that's the big part of it is the satisfying content, because there's you see all sorts of different versions of that through TikTok and Instagram where people just watch things and you don't even have to talk.
Right.
And I think that's how you kind of started out, was just the sounds of like making the pasta.
For like the first like 2 years, I feel like with the content, I like wasn't really even putting myself in the content much. It was just like letting the pasta making speak for itself, and people really gravitated towards that. And, you know, I built this massive following, really doing just what I love, keeping myself out of it and kind of letting the content speak for itself.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's kind of uncommon too nowadays, where like people kind of just let the content speak for itself.
Right.
And the growth follows.
Yeah.
Why do you think, well, let's take a step into the Doubling Egg series, which you just completed day 13.
Yeah.
Where did the idea stem from that?
Well, it was, so I have, to kind of like visualize this, I have like a studio built in my basement where I like film all of my videos, and I have a fridge, like a full-size fridge that's solely dedicated to eggs, just because how many eggs I go through, not for the doubling, but just like in my everyday content. And back in January, the end of January, I wanted to make a video, and for whatever reason, I only had a dozen eggs in the fridge. So I was like, what do I do with this that's creative, that's whatever, that's just not just another batch of pasta? So I decided to make a batch with 1 egg yolk, which I had done one other time before, but with this time I decided just to spin it and say in the voiceover that I'm going to double the eggs every time, not really thinking what it would lead to or how large it would scale. And that video did some crazy numbers. And so I was like, okay, we'll do like 5 or 6 days. Like, how big can I really go with this thing? Like, I didn't think what would come of it, but what came of it was obviously, what came of it was really awesome content, but also just like this whole community impact that really not only changed my life, but also like, I mean, thousands of people.
Millions of people.
Yeah, millions of people.
Was your first thought whenever you got to the like day 3, did you ever think, oh shit, where is this going to end at?
I probably had the oh shit moment when I hit like 256 eggs, because I was like, holy shit, like this is now the biggest batch of pasta I've ever made before. What am I going to, like, I can't stop. Like at this point, like the numbers were too good to stop.
Right.
But at that point, that's when I realized, okay, if I'm going to keep this content going, I need to be like responsible, right, as a creator, and like not waste all this food. Like, what am I going to do with a batch of pasta that has 500 eggs, like with all this pasta? That's too much pasta. Right. So like, that's when I had the oh shit moment, but that's when I had to like kind of be very quick and like shift and figure out the best way to facilitate like distributing and donating all this pasta so that it was done in the right way and making the biggest impact it could.
I think that part is the very great part about it. And I think a lot of people probably didn't notice it at first that you were donating the pasta. And how did that come about where you picked where to donate the pasta to?
Yeah, so with I think it was actually 256 eggs was the first batch that I donated pasta. I reached out to 412 Food Rescue. They're like they gather food from all kinds of places around town to donate. I reached out to them and said, hey, listen, I make pasta videos for the internet. I have pasta. I want to donate. Can you help me? They linked me up with Outreached Arms here downtown, and I literally showed up with a couple dozen like takeout containers of cooked pasta with sauce. And then from there, I've just kind of, snowballed into teaming up with other organizations and really just finding anyone that can help me get the food into the hands of anyone, whatever their situation is. Like, no questions asked. Like, if you need a meal tonight, I want to be able to provide that. And so, yeah, it's really been pretty cool to see.
That's incredible. Do you think you're going to continue with the path of the charitable donations with creating food?
Yeah, I think at this point, like, that has become, I don't want to say part of my brand, but like it's definitely like, obviously the doubling the egg series can't go on forever, but like I can, even if it's maybe, you know, a couple dozen meals a month, or I do a pop-up where I'm, you know, giving a portion of the proceeds to a different shelter or something. Like, I think having that as just like this cornerstone of my brand is like super important to keep that going.
I think another really cool part of the series that, or just your following in general, or your videos in general, has been kind of the education part behind it, as far as like how simple it is, honestly, to make fresh pasta dough. It's not something I ever thought about, but then watching this whole thing transpire in the last couple of weeks, I kind of learned a lot in the process. So I think that's one of the hidden benefits.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a couple different like layers to why I've had the success with content. I mean, obviously entertainment, people like just love to watch the content. Then you add in the educational concept, they're learning how to make pasta. And then now with the series of now this community aspect, it's like I'm hitting every single mark that you can get. So like, you know, no matter what you're looking for in content, I'm probably going to be able to hit it in some regard.
Exactly. I have a couple Instagram questions
that
people submitted.
Cool.
So let's take a look at these. Just want to make sure we get to them. Let me get the update.
Hit the IG up.
All right. This one is from Adam Faith Visuals. He said he heard Ryan was thinking of selling his own pasta sauce.
Pasta sauce?
Yes.
I'm sure I'll do that one day.
Has that been a thought before?
It's definitely a thought. I think first would be to launch my own pasta. Start with the pasta first and then get to the sauce. But yeah, I mean, I think as a food creator, like having like an actual product that is available to buy is like the most powerful thing that I can do. So yeah, it's definitely something I'm working on sooner than later.
And then Bova Dog Visuals, he said, why pasta?
The simplicity of it. So like when I first started like learning about pasta and getting like so passionate about it, you know, pasta like at its core, not to like go into a deep dive on it because I like nerd out about it. At its core, it's either flour and eggs or flour and water. And like that seems very simple, but like as I like studied it and really like became obsessed with it, I learned, yes, it's simple, but like there's very like certain movements that you do when you make it, and there's certain ingredients that you use, and like if you have to have the best ingredients to make the best quality. And you know, I've done, you know, hundreds of pasta classes with people, and I give them the flour and the eggs, and they think it's going to be so easy like they see me do on video, and they quickly find out it's not as simple like your first time. So I just think the simplicity of it, of taking, you know, very minimal ingredients and being able to transform that into, you know, a delicious plate of pasta is the best thing.
That's awesome. Have you thought about branching outside of pasta?
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point I'll do some more things just because of like the background that I have of being a chef and everything. Like a lot of people don't realize that I was a chef before social media. So like, you know, I know how to cook other things besides pasta, but at the end of the day, like I always am going to come back to pasta, and that'll be like the base of it all.
Do you have like a go-to that's not pasta?
A go-to
dish, like if you were, I don't know, your favorite meal.
Oh man, it'd probably be something pretty simple, like probably just like a really like well-cooked steak or something like that. Just nothing crazy. You know, I've like been fortunate enough to like eat at some of the best restaurants in the world and stuff, and have like really incredible food. But I think myself and a lot of other like chefs that I'm friends with like will all agree that like at the end of the day we just want something very simple, even if it's, you know, I don't know, like even like a really good like Caesar salad, right? Like if it's done right, like it's delicious. Like I don't need anything crazy, but
the appreciation of it's the key.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. And then we got another one here from Dylan Kickler Visuals. He said, when is day 14?
Yeah, day 14.
Probably best to just leave it cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys something offline here at the end, but it might be happening, but we'll see. No comment.
Sweet. Take us through a little bit about, you hit on it a little bit earlier with the different marks that you hit on in terms of how you create.
Yeah.
I know the creation process for you is probably pretty intense. Is there ever a moment when you're you're not stop thinking about creating, or walk us through how your creation
That's a good
process
one.
goes, I should say.
Meaning what exactly?
In terms of like creating a video, like is it you pop an idea into your head, or is it you see something,
Sure.
or do you like where does the inspiration
Or
come
just,
from? I guess
like planning out like your content for the month. Like how do you constantly innovate and come up with ideas? to
Yeah,
keep it
so
fresh?
in the beginning, like when I was first like really like grinding on TikTok and stuff specifically, I wasn't thinking about it. I was posting every single day. I was doing whatever I could just to get content out every single day, which was necessary at the time to grow. Now, like maybe I'll post once or twice a week, maybe sometimes less, sometimes more. It's more like now my stuff is much more thought out, much more strategic, just because it has to be like, right? Like I've built this certain platform where I can't just put out like half-assed content anymore. Like it has to be like,
Right.
I almost have to like compete with my last video, right? Like before when I was coming up, like I was competing against everybody else. Now it's like I'm competing against myself. That's it.
you are, yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like not like how I can like level up from the last video, but kind of like just almost be on that same level, just in the sense of like, because I can't obviously like I can't do day 14 right away. Like 8,000 eggs is wild. So like
Right.
everybody that wants that tomorrow, it's not going to happen tomorrow if it does happen. So like, what can I do in the meantime? So I think it's just kind of studying things, seeing what's worked for me in the past, and maybe altering it and editing it down a little bit. But also, like at the end of the day, like I'm a consumer of content as well. So like, what do I think is going to hit? Like if it's going to be something that I think that I would enjoy, 9 times out of 10, like if I do it right and if I shoot it right and execute it properly, like it's going to land with my audience. So it's just kind of being more strategic now with what that content's going to be, and really planning it out to give it the best that I'm able to give.
It seems like that's a huge part, is to be able to be a fan of content production as well. Do you think that's crucial now for anybody that's trying to get into being an influencer of sorts? Is you have to stay in the curve of things?
Yes and no to a degree. I think that sometimes like some people get too enamored with getting inspired by other creators and stuff, and I think that's good, but like at the same time, like then that draws away from your own authenticity. Like if you're getting inspired by like 10 of your favorite creators, like is the content you're creating really yours anymore? Like it's not like authentically you. Like you were inspired, which is great, but I think it's more valuable to like almost kind of like consume content with blinders, almost like not take away too much from it. That way you're able to like really deliver like what is most organically yourselves.
I like
What do you
that.
think for the transition from kind of doing the chef life full time or even part time, and then transitioning to full time social media? What was like the scariest part, or were you not scared at all?
I was scared shitless. Yeah, so I was working as a chef in a restaurant here in Pittsburgh, and doing the social media stuff like full time. So it was basically like 2 full-time jobs side by side. And so in October of 2020, I had a really big blow up on TikTok. Went from 300K to like 1.1 million in 3 weeks, which was great. And then in November of 2020, my wife and I had a baby. And so I took a month off from the restaurant that I was the chef at. And, you know, obviously I was helping like with the baby and everything, helping my wife out. But I still had time to like make content and do some things. And that's when I started to see like some different brands and stuff reach out with like money. Like because before, like I wasn't making much money. It was a side hobby. Like I didn't think it was a business. So during that month though, like I saw like real money coming in from this, and I was like, holy shit, like maybe I can do this for a living. Like this could be my out. Like I just had a kid. So it was probably then that I made the like conscious decision, like this is what I want to do for a living. But you know, to go back to like, was I scared? It took me 6 months basically to make that leap. Just because like to go from steady paycheck, benefits, all these things that I had become used to for 10 plus years to then jump to an industry that I had absolutely no experience in whatsoever. No more steady paycheck, no more benefits, no more nothing. no more vacation time. Like that was all going to be gone. It was a risk, but I knew that, or I didn't know, like hindsight's 2020, right? Like I kind of knew that I had to bet on myself and take this risk. And at the end of the day, like if it didn't work out in 3 months, I knew that I had the skill set as a chef to like go find a job in a restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like there was risk there, but I knew that like if I would fail, I wasn't going to fall too hard because I'd be able to bounce back somewhere. It was just a matter of like making that leap, betting on myself, fingers crossed it would work out, and thankfully so far it has.
That's awesome. It's pretty inspirational too. I know there's a lot of people out there that are in similar situations where there's big decisions they have to make, and sometimes you get hung up on those decisions. So myself included, and I know Alex can relate as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you ever miss like the chef life?
Oh, man, I
Like
get asked
working
this a
in a
lot.
restaurant?
Yeah, every now and then. I was telling somebody the other day, like the other day or the other week, it was a Saturday night. I was sitting at home, and I was like, man, I kind of miss it. And then I remembered it was a Saturday night, and I was sitting at home, you know? So,
Yeah.
sure, I miss, like, being able to, like, you know, cook in a kitchen and serve guests right away. But at the same time, like, you know, there's pros and cons to everything, and I'm just too happy doing what I do now to, like, to miss it enough to want to go back.
That's awesome.
Have you had a lot of people approach you about trying to get you in a specific restaurant?
To like go back to work in a
Yeah,
restaurant?
to get on back.
In the beginning, definitely. Like when I first left, yeah. And every now and then I'll still get people reaching out. And I just like, there's no interest right now. Like,
Right.
I'm too busy anyway with what I'm doing. Like why would I give this up?
That's got to be like the best feeling in the world too.
It's
I'm
amazing,
sure to
yeah.
just be busy enough with what you're creating and enjoying versus going back there.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Have you reached the point where you get recognized anywhere in public?
Yeah, I do. Not a lot. I mean, but enough that it's weird.
In the pasta aisle at
Yeah, I'm grabbing a box of Brillo. They're like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, I mean, it happens every now and then. It never gets normal. It's really, really weird. But yeah, it definitely happens. But thankfully, not too much. I'm not like a huge celebrity by any means, but I'd say just enough that it's kind of awkward.
You're
That's
getting to
fair.
be the staple of a Pittsburgh community, I think, too, which is big. A Pittsburgh community with the people that are, growing and pushing
Right.
the city, I think, is so huge and
Yeah.
can be recognizable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a big part of too. Like when I launched, like my accounts and my brand, or what I didn't realize was a brand at the time was, I'm not from Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh is like home now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be sure that always like it came across that pasta and Pittsburgh were like kind of at the top of who my brand was, and I think I've done a really good job of like when people see my stuff, even if it's just as simple as like wearing a Pirates hat or whatever, like it always kind of comes back to Pittsburgh, which was important to me in starting the brand and then now as I continue to grow it.
Yeah, you always have a piece of you on you
Exactly.
somewhere.
Right.
Some No-Lack gear I've seen.
Yeah, that's
a couple
right. Yeah,
videos.
always.
So-
Shout out
course.
NoLack,
Of course.
NoLack Nation, sponsored actually.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, at the beginning of the episode or mid episode, we have it too.
Sick.
So
Congrats.
yeah,
Thank you.
Jared's the man.
Step by step. What would you say is like the coolest thing or the coolest experience since starting social media for you?
It's tough. There's been a lot. I've gotten to do some of the coolest shit I've ever done in the past like 2 or 3 years. I mean, everyone always sees like all the stuff I do with all the different teams and stuff, which are always fantastic. Just getting to travel the country and make pasta, in the craziest places. I've done it in, countless stadiums. I've done it on cruise ships. I've done it on the Empire State Building. I've done it everywhere. So that's really cool. And just like all the different brands, and like I've gotten to work with the NFL. It was actually cool. I'll tell a story if we have time.
Of
Oh, yeah, we
course.
got
So I had done some stuff with the NFL before, nothing crazy, but we had a good relationship. And then I would say it was back in last July. They hit me up and they're like, "Hey, we have an opportunity. It's in LA. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yes." If like you're asking me, yeah, I'm interested. They didn't really tell me much info. They're like, "Okay, it's on Friday," and this was like on Wednesday, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, wait till the last
yeah,
minute.
unreal turnaround time there.
But I was like, I asked my wife because it was her birthday weekend. I was like, "Babe," I was like, "I can't say no." I was like, "Do you mind?" She's like, "Go." And so I was like, "Sick." So I got on the phone with them. They're like, "You're coming out for like a a video shoot. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I thought I was going to be like making pasta or something. I got out there. I was literally just like like an actor. I was just in a like an NFL commercial.
Really?
Yeah, I just had to like, they put me in Steelers gear. The set was like a fake apartment, and I had like 2 other people that were like my friends that were over for a Steelers game, and we just had to like watch a fake Steelers game, and they just like recorded the whole thing.
That's awesome.
And that was like for the NFL shop commercial. So just like things like that like not related to pasta at all, but kind of through my socials and through my brand, I've been able to like just find opportunities like that, you know, even 3-4 years ago, like as a chef in a restaurant, if you would have told me I'd be doing stuff like that, I'd be like, what? You're crazy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's crazy the power of social media, the reach that you can have. I'm sure you get a lot. So your view base is probably international at this point.
Yeah, it's international.
Big time. I mean, is there any like major countries outside the U.S. that you see a lot of interaction with?
Not in particular, but I mean it's worldwide. I can see like the analytics, and it's like every country from surprisingly not too much of Italy, which maybe they don't like it. I don't know.
Haters.
Maybe you need to go there and make a pasta video.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
Yeah,
Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower would be sick. I'd like to go over to Europe and do some stuff over there. I think it'd be fun, just because it is at this point international. Obviously, it's very saturated in the U.S., but at this point it's global.
Have you ever been overseas, like Europe before?
No, never.
I'm sure you probably find it appreciative with your culinary background.
Yeah, I'm sure it's only a matter of time.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you go about in the first stages of getting business for you? I mean, I know you said you took it as almost a side gig, side hobby, side hustle, but how did it come to be with businesses approaching you and sports teams like approaching you? Or
so I mean, I think the best thing I ever did for myself from like a business standpoint was, so like in the beginning, like when I was doing the content, it was pasta. Like that's what I was doing. I was making pasta, whether it be by hand or with the machines or whatever. That's what I was doing. And for so long I was like, okay, to make, like once I made the decision to go full time with this, I was like, okay, I got to make money. I have to like make this a business. How do I do that? Like, what am I going to do with brands? And I was like, okay, I'm probably going to work with like pot and pan companies, knife companies, apron companies. And I was like, well, that's probably going to be it. Like, what else can I do? Like, I make pasta. And then, like I said, the best thing I probably did was, as the pandemic was kind of like opening up, and I saw an opportunity to travel, I was like, man, I had this big blow up on social. I didn't get to do anything with it. What can I do now? And I had a good relationship with the Steelers and the Penguins already. So I reached out to them. I was like, hey, can I come make a batch of pasta at your stadium? And they were like, that's really an odd question. But they said yes. So I was like, sick. So first I went up to Mount Washington by myself, like in the rain, of course. It was raining. And made a batch of pasta. Like I brought like a folding table, made a batch of pasta there, and used that to like kick off this series of making a batch of pasta anywhere but my kitchen. And then snowballed that into doing one at Heinz Field and one at PPG. And I was like, okay, cool. Maybe like some other teams will see this. This can maybe kickstart something. And sure enough, one of the early teams that saw it was the Bears. And they invited me out to their like preseason fan fest and said, like, come make pasta at Soldier Field. And I was like, cool. Like, yeah, how does this work? Because I was like, I was new to this. I was like, you guys fly me out, you pay me, what do you do?
What's the deal here?
They're like, no, we don't do any of that. And I was like, shit, okay. They're like, if you get here, like, we'll let you do it. We'll give you a jersey. I was like, oh shit. But like for some reason, I thought like this could be something. So
of course.
I told my wife, I was like, hey babe, I was like, I'm going to Chicago. She's like, oh cool, like they're taking care of you. I was like, no, I'm driving. She's like, they got your hotel. I was like, no. And I was like, I'll figure that out when I get there. But I did that, and that's when it like really like started to take off, because while I was out there, I did Chicago, the Bears, got in touch with the Bulls, did Benny the Bull, got in touch with the White Sox, hit them up. Then on the drive back, I stopped in Detroit, did the Tigers. So I was able to hit like 4 teams in 3 days.
You made that trip well worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And so then that's when like now teams were like really seeing like, so from then I went on to, Green Bay, Buffalo, Vegas, LA, Miami. I mean, just really hitting everywhere. And now teams were starting to pay me like travel and all this stuff that I saw as an opportunity to like, okay, this isn't pot and pan companies or apron companies, but like for some reason the content works. My audience loves it. I can like very organically integrate these things into what I'm doing, just making pasta there. So then it started to open up like, okay, why does it have to be sports stadiums? Why can't I do it in the middle of a Walmart or at a Topgolf or on a cruise ship? Like, really just opened up these opportunities. And, I had the numbers to show these brands like, hey, look, like my audience loves this. They want to see where I'm going to be next. And that kind of was able to bring this whole business side into it. That was kind of cool to see.
It's like a huge marketing play for any company, if to get you and to get your audience. It's
one of those
impressive
ones too that was just like completely unpredictable too. Who would have thought that a dude making pasta
on paper it doesn't make sense.
Would
it
collaborate
makes no sense.
with all these pro sports teams, and they'd be some of their most watched videos that they post.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. So I've done a couple things with the Kansas City Chiefs, and the first time I did something with them 2 years ago, I was on the field before the game making the batch of pasta, and they had one of those like before games they had like a stadium tour.
Okay.
Going on, and it was the coolest feeling ever. I'm like setting up my stuff, cracking the eggs. Their social team is there with me, like hanging out. And here comes like a stadium tour, and there's like a group of like 6 kids, and they start screaming Peter's Pasta, and I'm like, shit, yes, like you guys get what they're saying?
Let's go.
Awesome.
So that was like really cool to see, like, and that was like in real life. I can see like, holy, like this is transitioning, like from the internet to real life. People are like putting it together.
The interactions are becoming real, and you're seeing it. That's incredible.
That's awesome.
You were down there with Juju, correct?
Yeah,
Juju helped you with the video, right?
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. I had done something with him, become good friends with him when he was here in Pittsburgh, did a video with him here in Pittsburgh, and then when he got signed with them, I hit up their social team. I was like, hey, listen, I was like, you got to bring me back
We're boys,
out.
yeah.
So that was a fun one. Yeah, so I guess New England is next.
Right.
Did you have to kind of step out of your comfort zone? Would you say step out of your comfort zone as far as like going out in public and setting up a table and like making pasta? Because I know a lot of people would probably feel a little like out of place or awkward if they were doing
it
that.
feels so weird every time.
And like, how did you overcome that?
I don't think I have. It still feels really awkward to do, especially in like some of these really, like I've done one. So last year or so, maybe 2 years ago, I did a couple things in New York. I did, I think this was the trip when I did the Knicks and the Empire State Building. And like, I'm always one to like, I try to capitalize on every situation I'm at. Like, so I was there, I had like 2 hours to kill. I was like, shit, I should go make a batch of pasta in Times Square. So I like had a table with me. I had some stuff. I had a buddy that lives in New York. I was like, yo, meet me down here just in case I need help. So I remember like, I like got right into Times Square, like right in the center by like those big stairs that they have. Mm-hmm. And I start like unfolding my table, and if you've ever been to New York, you see like the people and like mascots and stuff
hectic.
Walking around.
It is absolutely hectic.
Yeah, and this was like in the middle of the summer, so it was so hot, and I was like, shit, here we go. So I start setting up, people start looking, and I was like, all right, I'm fine right now. And then some cops started like getting closer and like really being curious with what I was doing. And I get the table set up, I start cracking the eggs, and this is when like the first cop comes over. He's like, what are you doing? I tell him. He's like, yeah, I don't think that's allowed. And in total, 9 cops came up to me. And by the 9th cop, they were calling like their sergeant or whatever. They're like, yeah, this isn't allowed. I'm like, listen, I'm not selling the food. They thought I needed a permit and all these things. They're like, do you have a film crew coming? I was like, no, it's my iPhone, bro. Like, chill.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It ended up being the 10th cop that was walking through that district was a follower of mine. And so he ended up like calling the sergeant, was like, hey, give this guy 30 minutes. They stood there, like, felt like with like a time clock, and just waited for me to get it done. But yeah, it's always awkward just doing it in like really public places because it is weird. Like, I'm just there cracking eggs by myself.
What's this guy doing?
Yeah, I've just kind of overcome it at this point.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people would probably feel the same if they're out there making pasta.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you think's your biggest failure? And it doesn't have to necessarily be with social media. It could be with your career as a chef, or just life in general.
Yeah, biggest failure.
And what did you learn?
Well, I don't want to say failure, but I would say like, and I guess this would go with, and again, I wouldn't really count this as a failure, but just maybe my biggest flaw, if you will, was in both when I was a chef, starting out as like a young cook, and then even starting out in social media, was not really recognizing what I was doing and not going as hard right in the beginning, you know? Because I think like when I was a chef, like in the beginning, like starting out in restaurants as like a young cook, like I was just enjoying the ride and having fun and learning and stuff every day. And same thing when I started on social media, like not full time, but just like still doing it. Like I was just doing it and I had success, but I wasn't really recognizing it right away to really capitalize. And like I always wonder, like, man, what if I would have like went as hard as I'm going now then? Like I wonder where I could be. But at the same time, like everything happens for a reason. And I think that like the journey that I've been on has happened at the pace it's supposed to happen at, but I still like wonder like what if, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
You're making it and pushing it now, though. That's all that matters at this point.
That's it.
Dude, I'm checking out your tattoos right now, though, and they're super interesting. Like, explain to me is it fruit, mushrooms? Give me the background on those guys.
Yeah, so I don't know if everyone can see it, but so on my right arm I have almost full sleeve of different vegetables. Everyone always thinks like at the grocery store, they're like, are you a farmer or are you a vegan? Neither. But when I was a chef, I was like, I don't want to do like the stereotypical like chef knife, you know, tattoo that like a lot of cooks and chefs have. So I was like, what can I do that's still representative of my craft, but in a different way? So this was just a cool way just to incorporate like a bunch of different ingredients and things into like a more like visual way, which was cool. So yeah, that's
it is sweet. Yeah, no, it's different. I like the color pattern on her too.
Yeah, I like it.
Any more inspiration to get more tattoos?
Yeah, I want to finish this sleeve. I want to do a full black and white sleeve on this arm.
There you go.
I just don't have time. It's time's the
killer.
Now,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You got to designate a couple hours.
Well, and the thing is like you have to like make appointments, and like my life is like all over the place right now. That like, you know, I don't have any plans in 2 weeks, but I might. So like, it's hard for me to like plan things out like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I like the black and white mix up. Yeah. That'll come out sweet.
It'll be cool.
I want to in the future, but I'm holding off for a little bit. Yeah. I don't want to get anything at the moment where I would regret necessarily in the future.
Yeah.
But
I think my next one should probably be an egg somewhere.
I was gonna say you get a half egg sleeve.
You might have to.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
As far as like the culinary side, would you say that culinary school is worth it? And almost like I've always kind of wondered if you'd almost be better off like kind of working your way up in a restaurant, finding a chef at a good restaurant that'll mentor you, like a smaller restaurant, something like that. And YouTube U is always a big thing too.
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot. I went to culinary school. I went to like a 1-year program, like no degree, like it was a certificate program. That was for me like what I was looking for. I was looking for that like just base knowledge and then start working right away. I don't think anything more than that is needed at all. If even that, like I know a lot of really successful chefs that never went to culinary school. It's definitely not necessary. I think it's just a matter of what you're looking for. But at the end of the day, I think that anyone that wants to be a chef should definitely work in a restaurant before even considering culinary school, just because it is not for everybody. It's a really tough lifestyle. So like I always tell everyone, like go work in a restaurant for at least 6 months, and then if you want to go to culinary school, then consider it at least.
That's a good way to look at it. Kind of get a little bit of experience and then kind of branch off of that. One thing I just thought of in my head, how many people would you say reached out or mentioned to you in the last week or 10 days about all of the cooked pasta that got dumped in the woods in New Jersey?
So that was probably the best thing that could have happened, like timing wise. Like that happened like almost the same day that I posted the day 13. And at first I was like, shit, this is not going to be good. But it's kind of like, it almost like was such a big response that it turned to being like not good to like, well, it's given me like even more attention.
It's making it more relevant.
Basically.
Yeah, like I've gotten tagged in like probably thousands of like duets and stitches on TikTok of like the first like 6 seconds of my video, then it cuts to like the green screen of the news article.
The culprit.
Yeah, and it's so wild. So yeah, there's been quite a few people wondering where I was at in New Jersey a couple weeks ago.
That's
What
funny.
what actually was the case in New Jersey? Was it just
So-
random pasta was just dumped back there?
That's what I read, was
Yeah.
basically just random pasta in the woods.
Well, it was someone they were clearing out. I think it was either his spouses who died or his parents. They had a bunch of dried pasta.
Oh.
And he didn't know what to do with it, so he dumped it by the river, not thinking anything. And then the rain was what, like, not cooked it, but like, brought
Right.
it back to life.
Right.
basically. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's funny.
That would be actually insane to see.
Imagine just like walking by the river and seeing a bunch of pasta.
You'd be so
That'd
confused.
just be
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
No, people would definitely expect it was you if it was around Pittsburgh, though, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they still
would-
think it was
yeah.
me, so yeah.
Even though you would never probably do that.
Yeah.
Unless you make like a video out of it being a meme, and then at the end of it you pick pasta
Right,
up. But
right. Yeah.
that'd be a lot.
Yeah.
What advice would you give for someone that's, say, 18 years old that's either trying to pursue a career as a creator or trying to get into the culinary world or just anything in general? What advice?
Yeah, I'd say the creator world is it's obviously like what everyone I feel like wants to do now. But it's even harder now than it was when I like started 4 or 5 years ago, just because it's so saturated. Everything has been done. There's like hardly anything original anymore. But I think the biggest piece of advice would be just like figure out what you want to do, like what you want your brand or your content to be. Stay as like true to that as you can, and just like put in the time and like have the patience to like not be swayed by maybe like the views that you're expecting or whatever. Like if you believe in what you're doing and it's like authentically you, like in time, like it will happen. But you can't expect it to happen overnight. Like everyone always thinks it's like these overnight successes, and sometimes it may seem like that, but like the work that goes on in the back end that maybe you don't see is super important to remember. So I think that, I think the biggest thing is just patience.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Patience is huge, not even just in the creator world, but in life in general.
Of course.
Things take a lot longer to happen than you
Yeah.
might think in your mind, and sometimes they're actually a lot faster. But I think a cool perspective Alex and I always talk about is like you look back 12 months and see
Right.
where you were, May 2022, and how much has changed.
Yeah. Well, here's an example. So like I recently had like this massive blow up on YouTube, right? I was
Congrats,
posting-
by the way,
Yeah,
for the
thank
1,000,000
you.
followers.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
awesome.
It's
Sorry to
crazy.
interrupt, but I just remember that.
So I was posting the Double the Egg series, obviously on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It was doing really well on Instagram and TikTok, and on YouTube. I had been stuck at like 40,000 subscribers for like a year. Wasn't growing anything. Every short I was posting was getting like 2,000 to 3,000 views, like guaranteed. It would cap off right there. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I was posting them all there. They weren't getting anything. And then I think I was on like day 7, 8, or 9. Those were all already up there. They had all gotten like 2,000 to 3,000 views. And then I looked at YouTube the one day, and I think it was day 2. All of a sudden, like skyrocketed to
Right.
1 million. And I was like, holy shit. And that just was this like snowball effect that hit everyone. So like just to kind of go back to the patience, like had I by like day 6 even, and again, this is like short frame patience, right? But I think it still matters because like had by like day 5 or 6 be like, oh shit, like these aren't getting anything, I'll just stop. Like you just have to kind of, I knew that the content was good, that eventually, I was hoping at least eventually it would hit. And sure enough, it did.
Is YouTube Shorts the next platform then? You think? Is it the next TikTok?
I think it already, no,
It
not
is?
the next TikTok. I think it's just the next, it's just another resource for content. I think TikTok is kind of like paved its way as its own, thing. There's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's YouTube, and then YouTube Shorts. But yeah, man, YouTube Shorts is powerful. It's definitely like allowed me to have a ton of growth in, a couple months' time.
Have you ever thought about doing longer form videos and breaking down processes and things like that via
Yeah.
maybe YouTube channel and posting?
Yeah, I mean, I think more long forms. So Josh just filmed, if anyone didn't see, Josh filmed the like behind the scenes of the day 13, which was like my first like real long form video. And just seeing the response to that and just like me knowing as a creator the value behind long form video. I think that's something that I want to focus more on in the next year, of just like kind of building a team that can allow me to keep doing all the short form content, but like really dive into the long form content where I can really like, one, show a different side of myself, show more of my personality, but also just bring more impact in the content, kind of dive deeper into, everything pasta.
It's a hell of a story too, and especially with the places that you've went, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you did that and had a channel or a series where you're just posting like Ryan Peters Pasta taking over the country, and it's like a following or going to different countries, man. I feel like the possibilities are almost like endless with that route too.
Yeah, there's a lot I can do still, which is kind of cool. Just because like for the past 4 years, I've done, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but like I've just made the pasta, right? Like, so like what else can I do of showing these places I go, and just really exploring all the different avenues of how I can put the content out is going to be fun.
How's it been working with some of the bigger influencers? I saw a couple of TikToks. You did the one with, I forget his name, but he chopped up the pasta super fast. I mean, like getting to work with all these different influencers has to be very cool.
That's been like the coolest thing, is just like the relationships I've been able to make, and really the friendships of getting to know these people through the internet, but then like obviously then meeting them in person is like the best thing. Like we feel like we already know each other, right? But yeah, it's been fun. It's been cool to like grow and connect with so many people from not only around the country but around the world that can relate to like the struggles and the ups and downs of this creator lifestyle that is so wild. Just dealing with so much that it has. Because like if I like text one of my like chef buddies about something, they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Or "What are you complaining about?" Right? But if I can text one of my creator friends, like they're able to really relate. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you probably have your own community. My bad. Keep going.
No, you're good. What would you say is like your dream collab?
My dream collab.
Like if there's one person out there, or one influencer that you wanted to make pasta with, who would it be? That you haven't already?
Mr. Beast would be pretty cool. We'll put that one out there. I think it'd be fun to do something with The Rock. I think that'd be a lot of fun. He does some stuff in social. Kevin Hart would be fun. Oh, Taylor Swift. She's coming to Pittsburgh next month. So
close to where you grew up as well. So
yeah, there's the hometown connection. So I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. But yeah, we'll see. I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time.
A Mr. Beast one would be almost like
I feel like it would break the internet,
It would.
Yeah.
He has like a very similar, like he's big on helping the community and stuff.
Yeah.
And the two ideas that you have here kind of go hand in hand almost. So that would be definitely an interesting one.
Yeah.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where'd you go?
Ooh, man, that's tough.
Right here.
I mean, yeah, I do love Pittsburgh. I lived in Napa for a little bit. I really liked Napa. It was a cool lifestyle. If I was like retiring though and just wanted to go somewhere just to like chill, it'd probably be, so I used to live in Key Largo, Florida for like 4 years.
Nice.
And that like Florida Keys lifestyle is, man, it's really hard to beat. It's just like the summers in Florida suck. So
Hot.
they're so hot. Yeah, they're uncomfortable, but
Good for the winter, I feel like.
Oh, they're the best for the winter. I'll do Pittsburgh in the summer and then go down there for the.
There you go. Winter. That's common. You know? A lot of Pittsburghers down in Florida in the winter.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
You want to let's draw like 2 questions and then we'll close it up.
Oh yeah, go for that. On the show we go through the route of where we pick like a random card out of this deck of cards. I forget what the game's called though, Josh.
How deep will you go? How deep will you go?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They're actually they're on TikTok and they're just these I think they're in college kids that go around college campuses, and they created this card game. You draw a card and it's a random question and you answer it. And they have 3 different levels. Level 1, icebreakers. Level 2 is confessions, and level 3 is getting deep.
Boy.
There's nothing crazy on them, but they're good conversation pieces, and
cool.
we've used them for the last couple episodes.
It's been
So we'll do some icebreakers here just to see what comes up.
Cool.
I'll let you draw.
Oh boy.
Right on.
Picking my own fate. Am I supposed
Hopefully
to
it's
read
a good
it?
one. Yeah, you can read it.
What's one big thing you would want to change about yourself?
Oh,
I think I know mine. I would go quicker decision maker.
I wish. Actually, you expand on
Not
that. real
to like hold on to something for a while, but to make a decision and stick with it and roll with it.
I think mine would be to be better at saying no. I say yes to everything, which is good in some things, but it's like I try to do too much, and it's like it's out of a good place, but at the same time, like I get burnt out sometimes by it, you know, just because I commit to everything. I'll take on every meeting, any opportunity. Like even like this week, for example, like I'm going to Indianapolis on Wednesday for this like convention, and just this morning I was like, shit, while I'm out there, like I should make a batch of pasta at the Indianapolis Indians. Like
never stop.
I never stop.
You never
like,
stop.
So like I wish sometimes like I had that mental capacity to just like put like limits on it, but it's too hard.
Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. We've talked about that in the past. I mean, even with taking on just clients and working, and it can be tough. It's very tough to step away from it. I mean, especially as I feel like you're a good dude. You're a people pleaser. You care about the community. You care about people around you. It's hard to step back and say, hey, like.
Yeah, Alex and I can both relate to that one. Yeah. Sometimes you got to start turning down clients that just aren't worth it in the end, or a hassle.
Yeah.
So I like yours too with the quicker decision making. I can relate to that. I think mine was I wish I just got like out of my comfort zone more earlier in life, because I was shy growing up. Still am to an extent, but like I've grown a lot in the last like probably 7 or 8 years or so. So I wish I kind of started doing that back in middle school, high school days.
Yeah.
And but hey, we're here now and
doing podcasts and having fun.
Who would have thought? Yeah. All right, let's grab another one.
Right here. What is your happy place?
Oh.
I think mine is making pasta without cameras.
Oh.
That's
like being able to like, if I'm just like the other night, like it wasn't pasta, but I think it maybe just cooking without cameras at this point. Which is weird just because like for 10 years I was cooking without cameras. But now like almost any time I'm cooking something, even if I'm just making dinner, like I'm usually trying to capture some sort of content out of it. But just 2 nights ago I made like chicken parm for my family and I, and like no cameras. I didn't film it. Actually, I did take a picture. Shit. But no, just like being in the kitchen and cooking, or like if I'm making a batch of pasta for like a news segment or something that is for the next day and I have to like prep it, like being able to do that and not think about the cameras or any of that and just like do what I really love, like that's it.
I think that's a staple too, to how much you love it too, because that's what you do, or that's your happy place is making and creating pasta.
Yeah.
What I know you talked about it. You said angel hair is your least favorite. Why? Why angel hair? I'm just curious.
Here we go. This podcast is about to get long. Oh man, it sucks. Fuck.
Is it the texture of it? Does it get too mushy?
There is no texture to it.
Okay, fair.
It turns to shit automatically, and there's literally hundreds and hundreds of pasta shapes. Yeah. It also too, like if let's say you're doing spaghetti with like a bolognese meat sauce, right? It's impossible for like the sauce to like actually coat the pasta. It just like sits on top.
Yeah, you don't get to taste it.
It's a terrible, shitty product. It shouldn't be produced. There's literally hundreds of better shapes. Yeah, that's the end of that.
How do you feel about bow tie pasta?
It's my favorite.
Really? Oh, my man, let's go. I had some
right there.
Right on. It's actually my what's the actual name of bow tie?
Farfalle.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna stick with bow tie though.
So I like bow tie, like the box version. It's fine. It's like nostalgic. But I really love like handmade farfalle. Not to sound like a pasta snob, but when you make farfalle by hand the proper way, you actually like leave. Like when you pinch it, you leave like a little channel in between that allows the water to pass through, so that like like when you eat like boxed farfalle, like the middle's kind of crunchy. When you make it the right way, it's like a perfectly cooked piece of pasta that. And it was like the first shape I ever learned how to make, so it like it holds.
Seems like it would be kind of difficult, right? How does that process work when you're You're making the bow tie. Do you
No, it's
push it
pretty. You
down?
just like pinch it together,
And that's it?
Like when you're learning how to do it, you take like a very small like dowel rod and like push it through. That way, you like learn how to pinch it the right way to leave that channel. But it's a fun shape to make.
Yeah, I had a carbonara pasta from Combine Brothers up where me and Josh both went to school.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
good,
it's one of my favorites.
so good.
Fire. I'm a huge ravioli guy.
Ravioli,
Oh,
That's my thing there. Lasagna, you know.
so good.
what's your second least favorite pasta then? If it's angel hair, is it another type of spaghetti?
I don't think I have another least favorite. I
No,
like
it's
them
just-
all.
it's
I
just
really
angel
don't
hair.
Passionate about the angel
Yeah, I
hair.
just really don't like angel hair. It sucks.
That's awesome.
Not even with like a seafood dish or something like that.
Angel hair?
Yeah.
No,
No.
get outta
You got
here.
it. Has to be linguine. Does it have to be linguine with seafood
I
dish?
don't. You can give me anything. No,
Yeah.
I mean linguine is pretty classic. Yeah, just angel hair. It sucks, man. Like it's not good. Like I always tell
That's
everyone,
fair.
like, so like I told you I'm gonna keep going on
Yeah.
this. So like bucatini.
No.
It's like a long like spaghetti, but it's hollow in the middle. It's like got a hole in it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
So like I always tell everyone, angel hair is the middle of bucatini that they like push out to like throw away. Like it should be thrown away.
It's the scraps.
Yeah, it's literally
That would make
the
sense.
waste. Yeah.
Do you like cavatelli and gnocchis and?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
cavatelli a lot. Gnocchi I like.
Yeah.
They're not my favorite, but I'll eat them. But cavatellis are really good.
Can it be dangerous making so much Italian food and just watching about what you eat with Italian food?
Yeah, I mean, I
A
don't.
lot of carbs.
Everyone
Yeah.
thinks like all I eat is pasta, and I always tell everyone like I don't eat it every meal, but I eat it more than the average person just because like
fair.
I'm around it. I ate a lot of raw pasta, which is weird. That's probably the most pasta I consume is raw. Oddly enough, but yeah, I eat a fair share of it.
That's fair.
That's fair. All right, Alex, any closing remarks?
Hey, all I gotta say is we seriously appreciate you coming down,
thank
man.
you guys for having me.
Especially
Yeah, this was sick.
knowing your schedule.
Yeah.
And you're such a busy guy, and
No, for sure.
we're pumped to see
Yeah.
what's next. And
Yeah. Thanks
Day 14
again
is
for coming
coming up.
down.
8,000.
it is,
We'll
it
see, we'll
is.
We'll see.
But
Yeah,
appreciate
stay tuned.
everybody tuning in. Thank you.
Yes.